You're listening to the Raw Reality Podcast hosted by Tori Story and Fit with Lily. Big thanks to Muscle Republic for sponsoring today's show. Whether you're hitting the gym or running errands, their activewear has you covered. Use code RAWREALITY20 for 20% off.
Welcome back to another podcast episode. It's Lily here, and Tori is currently still living her best life in Europe, smashing it at the Acro Worlds. So today we wanted to bring you something a little bit different. I got the honor of being on Morgan's podcast last week. It's called the Mindset Lounge podcast. She's an IFBB bikini pro athlete, also my posing coach, and has a podcast herself. This conversation was so insightful and valuable. She asked such incredible questions, and that's why I really wanted to bring it across to ours, because I know you guys will absolutely love it. If you love this podcast as well, definitely go give her other ones a listen. It's all about fitness, mindset, discipline, motivation, as well as the bodybuilding industry. This podcast goes into my journey, what I do outside of bodybuilding, as well as my upbringing and everything else you want to know about me. So I hope you enjoy.
Thanks for coming on. I'm so excited because I know nothing about you.
Which is crazy. I feel like we see each other every single day, but it's always like in the same industry, like fitness, bodybuilding, and that's about it.
Literally. And it's funny because we have like a good dynamic where like I coach you in posing, but then I look up to you in so many things as well. So it's like, it's cool. I feel like you learn from me and I learn from you. So it's like,
it's a perfect combination.
Literally. Yeah. It's funny because I think before we did posing, I only knew you as Fit with Lily. I didn't even know what your last name was.
That is the case with everyone. No one, even when I get packages sometimes from brands, will say Fit with Lily on it. So when I go to the post office, I'm like, oh, here's my license. And they're like, it's not there. I'm like, can you please check under Fit with Lily? And they're like, what?
You're like, that's actually my initials now.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
FWL. Love that. Well, that's good. Well, I want to ask about the brand anyway. So when you first started, did the confidence come naturally to start the brand, or is that something you had to build up?
It's definitely something I had to build up. When I essentially first started my Instagram, it was like on private because I was so scared of other people following along, which is wild because I used to do cheerleading and my whole like old Instagram was very dedicated to cheerleading. I would post all of that stuff, but when I did that, there was no really stories or anything. It was very like one single post. So I didn't really need much confidence to do that. Instagram wasn't like huge in that way. So when I wanted to start documenting my fitness journey, I was like, okay, just girls and people I don't know, because I felt a lot more comfortable kind of exposing myself to people I don't know. Like it's like when you perform, I'm way more nervous for my family to watch me than like a bunch of randoms. So I was just like accepting all the random people and like maybe my closest friends, but not like a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
So it definitely took time for me to build that up. And then once I did, I finally was able to turn it on public and slowly post. Like it was very much a slow kind of burn. I didn't go from like 0 to 100. It was like I didn't speak on my stories for ages. And even now, like I don't speak that much, but it's because I have a podcast. I'm like, I literally talk for an hour a week. You guys can hear it via that way. I will never really speak on my stories much, but even now I do get nervous. It's definitely a journey and it's taken a long time, but I've come so far.
Yeah. So was there a distinct moment that made you want to start Fit with Lily? Like what was the change from cheerleading?
It was during COVID. I kind of lost what I like wanted to do, as of like a lot of people kind of lost themselves through that time. I stopped cheerleading, which was my whole identity, and I needed something to train for as like a competitive person. I was like, I can't just go to the gym for fun. So I did a half marathon and I was like, okay, cool. That was fun to train for. What's next? Like I just had to have something. And I started going to Muscle Melbourne in Melbourne, where I used to live. And one of the coaches there approached me to like start bodybuilding. And that's kind of when I started posting on my socials anyways, and like found a new Instagram to put my passion towards, because I did marketing as like a whole separate job and degree. And I was like, I hate this. Like what's something that's going to bring me happiness? And it's like documenting my life through social. So that was kind of, it was very much for me and not really an intention to necessarily grow and build it into something big. But it kind of just like started building quite quickly. So I was like, oh, this is actually something I can do. And I feel like I got on a little bit earlier. It's really hard to grow socials now. I find it like personally, I find it so hard. I grew from like 0 to 50K quite quickly. And then the last like I think I grew 30K last year, but since I hit that 80, which was in April last year, I haven't grown. So it's like I find the initial like increase was really quick, and then like now it's slowed down quite a bit.
Yeah. So your marketing degree, that kind of gave you a bit of insight on how to do socials, do you reckon?
I did more SEO type work in marketing. So it was very much like blog writing. And I used to always want to be a corporate marketing girl or like just work in a very tall building in like a business suit. Like, and honestly, it's still kind of my dream. I've just started watching Suits. I'm like, oh, that's so fun. I know that's nothing what it's like, but I love business a lot. So I just thought that my commerce degree gave me a very overall broad view of business. And then I kind of majored in marketing and HR. And out of university, I got like a part-time job in a digital marketing agency. And it taught me that that's not what I want to do. I don't think it taught anything to do with socials. I learned how to do Facebook ads, but I wouldn't know how to do it now. I learned how to do email marketing, but it was never anything really to do with actually social media. I think that just came through trial and error.
Yeah. So did you feel like you had fear of judgment or fear of failure? What was like the first fears when you started the Instagram that made you hold back?
Definitely judgment. I didn't know. There was no really room to fail when I hadn't really started. So that never crossed my mind, but it was always judgment. I've grown up a huge people pleaser, and it's like my biggest weakness that I'm 100% like working on because it's held me so much back in the past. So I'm very much working on to get past that, and that's what held me back initially. Because at the end of the day, like we just want to make everyone happy. But then I found I was putting myself last in a lot of situations. And then that started to come through on social media as well. And that's almost when it came to like light to me, because it was certain things I wouldn't post, or I'd take a photo 1,000 times to like look a certain way. And it just kind of built up to, I got to a point I was like, okay, I'm actually like portraying someone I'm not. Like, who actually am I? What do I want to post? And then as soon as I found that, that's when I grew.
Yeah. It's interesting because to me, you seem like such a confident person, and you're so consistent with your socials. I think that's one of the main things that I've noticed,
amazing.
The consistency. But how did you keep consistent when you were feeling the self-doubt?
Oh, that's a great question. I would just say I knew there's always a part of me that's been really motivated and disciplined. So like, being a competitive person, you always lean into that discomfort. So I knew that if I wanted to be like who I wanted to be, I would have to get past being that person who was constantly scared of judgment. So I'd probably post the things like a very easy swipe across, a very easy reel where I knew no one could judge me, but I would just continue doing it and make sure I was consistent with it. There's been a lot of times where I've posted something and like deleted it straight away, or like redone it, or it hasn't done as well as I wanted it to. But it just like, I knew that I had to continue to show up like no matter how I felt, because that's how I operate in every area of life. And you'd be the same. If you don't want to go to the gym, you're going to go to the gym. If you don't want to do, I don't know, if you don't want to go to work, you still go to work. And that's how I treated social media. Was almost like another job for me.
Yeah, that is so smart, because I think that would be my biggest downfall. I am so good at doing everything for bodybuilding. Like, no matter what is it? Fuck your feelings, just follow the plan. But with social media, I'm like, oh, if I don't want to, or I feel scared, I feel nervous, I just don't.
Yeah.
And so that consistency, that is definitely what builds, it's what builds everything, right?
I think I've also very much now know that without social media, my business wouldn't be where it is. The podcast wouldn't be where it is. So it's almost the backbone to my whole like brand. So I know that I have to keep that up if I want to keep pushing my coaching, keep pushing the podcast. So that's definitely been a motivator behind it as well.
Yeah. It's funny just because people don't care, right?
Oh my gosh.
We think everybody cares about us as much as we care about ourselves. But at the end of the day, nobody ever really notices.
No, literally. Like, I wouldn't know when the last time you posted. I wouldn't even know what your last post was, but I can tell you the last 5 I've done and how consistent and how good they've been.
Yeah.
And then you just like rewatch it a million times, nitpicking if the title should be up here or down here. No one notices, no one cares. And majority of the time, the most viral content is the one that with the less effort.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah. And we have this fear of being cringy, but you're cringy until people are jealous. Like,
yes.
People will cringe and then people want to be you. So it's like, why are we not just embracing the cringe anyway?
Yes, that's a very good one. Because I always found like the people that I followed on social media, I'm like, oh, I can't talk on my stories. I can't post a workout video because I'm not as good. But it's like no one cares. But then when you get to a certain point, it's like then everyone cares. So it's like you just got to start from the start posting it. And I promise you there's going to be like one person following along. Like I remember the very first reel I did, someone was like, oh my God, I just did this workout and loved it. And I was like, why? Like, why would you do that workout? And then that's what gave me motivation to keep going because I'm like, okay, well, if one person likes it, I can build on that and other people will like it as well. So you'll never cringy because I promise you, like, I have some reels saved, like people have under 500 followers. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. And I'll save it in my like content calendar and it's great.
Absolutely. And if people are cringing anyway, they're just usually the ones that aren't doing the work.
Yes. Oh, what's the saying where it's like the people who judge you are the only people who are under you. The people who are above you will never actually judge you or bring you down. That was like the biggest learning curve for me because everyone who's actually helped me are always above me. Anyone who's like discredited my work or like had an opinion about me and not supported me has always been quote unquote like someone under you.
Or don't take criticism, don't take advice from anyone you wouldn't want to swap lives with, right?
Yes.
Like somebody above you, take their advice, take their criticism, but they're not going to be the ones criticizing.
Yeah.
But someone under us, why? Why do we even care what they think?
Yeah, exactly. We get so caught up in that mindset.
I know. But it's hard as well because we place so much emphasis on being perfect, especially being a good bodybuilder, being good in business. Like things have to be good, but they also just have to be. We have to just start before they can be good.
Well, we always say like just be consistent over perfect. But when you're such a perfectionist, it's really hard to actually be in that mindset. It's like the number one thing I tell my clients, like, don't worry about being perfect, just worry about being consistent. But with myself, I'm like, you literally have to be perfect. And that's what I've gotten caught so much in, I'm going to say the last month. And then in the last like 2 days, I've actually had to pull myself up on it because it's brought me like the worst anxiety and stress ever. So I'm like, the second I dropped all of that, I feel like a lighter human being.
Yeah. How does it feel to share so much of your life online? Do you feel pressure to always be perfect or are you happy sharing the lows as well?
I would say I want to share more, but I'm still scared of like the criticism, but I'm also scared of my clients. So if I say I'm on my stories, I'm really stressed, I'm really overwhelmed, I'm not going to have clients come to me because they're not going to want more like put more pressure. If my coach jumped on her stories and was like, oh my gosh, like I have so many check-ins today, like I've got to onboard this client, I've got to do that, I'd be like, don't worry about my check-in, just leave it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I struggle with the most because my stress a lot of the time comes from work because I put a lot of pressure on myself for work over bodybuilding because I know that I can just show up, do the work, and that comes so easy to me. But business doesn't come as easy to me. So I put way more pressure on myself to be perfect. And that's what I really find hardest to share. But then equally, bodybuilding's a weird one because the industry, there's a lot of like noise and you can get so caught in it because if you complain, it means that you're not being grateful you chose to do it. But then if you don't complain, it means that it's not hard enough. So I find that that's what I really get caught in is like, okay, how much do I actually share? This time I'm really trying to be as open as possible. I am way more open on my podcast than anything in the world because I know that my community has to sit there for an hour every single week and listen to me and they enjoy it and they support me. Whereas social, something can go viral, be sent to someone. It's a lot more like tangible.
Yeah. And there's no context.
Yeah, exactly. No context. Yeah.
They're like, wow, this girl is like complaining that she's starving. What the hell?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know all the things going
Or
on.
they'll be like, oh, my cows are lower than her. Why is she complaining? Why is she hungry? I'm like, it's so different. Like, you can't even compare.
Yeah. I've definitely found in the last like few weeks, I've been trying to be more open on my social media. And again, I realized like, actually, nobody really cares.
No. Or I saw your post the other day in the posing room and I was like, wow, I would not expect that. And then it made me feel not as guilty for also kind of falling into that mindset. So it's like you're always inspiring someone else and anyone who judges you are just probably never actually going to support you or be in your corner anyways.
Yeah. And we cling on to being this picture perfect bodybuilder or influencer or whatever. But then when we get the praise for being this kind of like fake us anyway, the praise doesn't even feel that good, right? Yeah. Like if everyone's like, oh my God, you are so good because you've been so consistent. You haven't complained this whole prep. But deep down, you know that you've been like having a freaking meltdown every second day. You're like, oh, that doesn't even feel good.
Yeah.
When you share it and people are like, thank you for being so real. Now I feel like less alone. You're like, wait, no, that feels like I've like impacted people.
Or it's way more motivating for them to know that you're still showing up when it's been really hard.
Yes.
Which is a huge thing as well, because I can keep posting on my socials that things are chill. So it looks like prep is actually easy when it's not meant to be. So it's like, it's hard to find that balance. But I really liked what you posted the other day. I actually had a client sign with me like last year, and she said, she's like, I don't want to be on the ball as much as you. I don't want to be as perfect as you. Like, I just don't need that pressure. I'm like, whoa, I'm like not at all. And that kind of really opened my eyes to be like, okay, I think I'm not putting out as much of like my flaws as I possibly could be through Instagram specifically. I do through like YouTube and podcasts, but Instagram, it's very easy to show up when things are good.
Yeah. And it's not even really a flaw though, right? Like you're like sharing my flaws when in reality you're just sharing you, like being a normal person.
Human.
Literally. Yeah. It's so normal to like eat different foods and have days where you don't feel like you want to train.
Yeah.
But we make that almost feel like it's like a bad thing. Like that's a flaw.
Yeah.
And maybe in prep, if you go out and you absolutely fuck your food up, maybe that's a flaw. But majority of the time, these things that we're so hard on ourselves on are like such minor things.
100%. I'll be like, I didn't get an extra like 100 steps last night. I'm like, I'm literally going to lose. It's like I am so annoyed. But like it's literally not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
Like you're so fine.
I literally saw your story the other day. Oh, I think it was on TikTok, and you said you had a nightmare about show already.
Yes, that was the very first week. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have 23 more weeks to go. We need to chill out. I haven't had one since, thank God. Obviously prep was very much on my mind, and now I've like chilled out from that.
Yeah.
Now I'm in my routine.
Yeah, it shows that you care, right? Like if it's like on the forefront of your mind, that's good. You're a hard worker. So like these things, like you want to make sure that you perform at your best and you show up at your best, and not for other people, but just for yourself. So
100%.
you know that you like gave it your all. That's the most important thing.
That's what prep is literally all about, that you just want to do every like 1%er to know that you literally can't do anything else.
Yeah. What's been the difference in your mindset this prep compared to your first prep?
Okay, so this is my third prep, and I would say the biggest difference was between my first and my second, because the first you go in like so blind. You have no idea. I didn't know anyone in the industry. All I knew was like myself, and I had no friends that competed or anything. So it was very much like I was closed-minded. I didn't even know what IFBB was. I just knew what ICN was, and that's what I competed in. Then I kind of came back out of that season, and I was like, okay, heading into my next one, I need to go through like a decent growing phase to actually put on size, because I knew that IFBB at that point in time was like my next goal. So the difference in like the way I trained in off season, ate food, that was like, I honestly reckon the off season was what I treated the most differently. The first one I would have like GYG, which is so fine, but like to hit my calories like probably every second night. And then this one I was like making sure it was still like really lean foods like rice, potatoes, chicken, while of course still having like balance. I'm like the number one advocate for balance in your off season. But I would say like my off seasons I treated the most different. And then food choices heading into my second show, I had like pasta the day before comp to try like to my carb up, because I didn't know what I was meant to eat. I had like a Coke, a hot chocolate, a pasta, Wheat Bix. Like I was just fitting it in my macros. Like I didn't know. And then the second comp I treated that way different. But in comparison to this one, it would be my training. I would say like my nutrition, my steps, everything is the same. Since coming to Zone, now I know what it's like to train harder. I was like, oh, I've never trained so hard in my life. And I've seen the most growth in such a short amount of time just because of the training aspect.
Yeah.
I'll say that's the biggest thing.
It's so good. Training when you have like space to just almost just like be yourself with training. Like go hard. You're not thinking about anybody else. You're just doing your thing. That is such a good space to be in, and we're so lucky to be
And I'm
here.
also like, sometimes when I used to go to World Gym, I'd be like, oh, like I kind of know her. Should I introduce myself? Do I not? I was speaking to her on socials last week, but I just like always had other noise in my head, or it'd be super busy and then you'd have to kind of rush a workout, or you couldn't get a specific piece of equipment. Whereas here, everyone is so nice and has like very similar goals. Everyone's really hardworking. So I find it much more of like a calm space, which allows me also to train harder.
Yeah. And you have to have a clear mind for a prep. You cannot go through a prep with cluttered brain the whole time.
No, you can't.
It will not work.
Yeah, I've literally tried. I tried the past month, and it has brought my body like the most stress ever. And I literally like was not losing weight because of it. And I'm like, why? And my coach is like, because you're stressed. I'm like, yeah, well, like, can we just disregard that? Like, what else can we do? She's like, you literally need to calm down your stress levels or else I'm not going to move anywhere. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah.
No matter how busy you are, what are your non-negotiables when it comes to a prep, like recovery, sleep?
I would say getting to the second half is definitely sleep, 100%. I've slowed down my sunrise walks, which is so sad, but I know that I need sleep more than anything in the world. Massages is always like, it doesn't matter if I'm making the like least amount of money in my life, that is like a priority to me. Like they say, like if you can afford like a cocktail or Uber on the weekend, you can afford like coaching. That's kind of like my version of it is like a massage every fortnight. It's what helps me like relax as well. And then also just like making time for myself because prep can be very consuming in a way that it takes over your whole identity. So I need to make sure that I still have time with my friends, with my family, or doing even traveling things that's completely outside of bodybuilding so I don't get so consumed in it. And that's what I did really well my last prep because it was over summer. So I found that it was really easy to kind of like just enjoy my life at the same time. Whereas I'm finding this one is consuming me a little bit more because I have not catching up with friends as much. Like my best friend just moved to Melbourne. My other friends now live in Sunny Coast. I'm like, oh. And then my other best friend here also does prep. So I'm like, okay, that's like probably what I need to be better at this time. But they're definitely the three things is like massages, sleep, and making time for myself outside of bodybuilding.
Yeah. Preps are all consuming and they're always going to be all consuming because it consumes your food, your sleep, your training, everything. Somebody else literally controls your life, right? Like your coach controls your life. But if you can have like just a little slither of like control yourself in something that's completely outside of bodybuilding, it makes it so much easier to prep. I don't know.
So much easier because your mind isn't constantly consumed by it. Like I'm going to Melbourne on Wednesday to go see Katy Perry and I would do these things like 5 weeks out of comp as well. And then like last New Year's, I went out dead sober to 2 a.m. in the morning. Like I'm not going to recommend doing that the week before show, but I'm like, I didn't even think about prepping. I was like still having water and stuff, but I wasn't so stressed about like I did all my boxes throughout the day and I could just enjoy my life. At night, I'm like completely forgot about the whole like industry and everything and you take that pressure off yourself. Yeah. Whereas if you're so consumed by it, it becomes your identity. Then you come out of prep, you don't know what to do. It's like, oh, I've lost everything.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to build those like really good, consistent habits up so that you can just tick the boxes without really thinking about it. Like if prepping and bodybuilding is your lifestyle, it's so much easier to just do it without thinking about it and then have other things.
Yeah.
But like if you've gone from this like never tracking to tracking in a comp prep, it's so overwhelming and it becomes so much more consuming.
Yeah.
Whereas like for you and I, like these things just run in the background. I don't even have to think about it.
Well, that's like you were like before, what's your non-negotiables when you get too busy? I didn't even say cardio, steps or training because that's just an autopilot thing. I was like, oh yeah, like what else do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas if you probably asked me as my very first time, I would have said cardio, steps and training are my non-negotiables. It's like, well, no shit.
Yeah.
So like what else are you going to do about it?
Yeah. I can remember in my first prep, I had like a habit tracker basically of like things I would tick off. And my first prep was like 10K steps, hit macros, gym. Like that was what I was ticking off as like my habit tracker. Now my habit tracker is like my freaking reading for 30 minutes, getting my journaling done, like all the other things.
It's giving like when you write a to-do list, you say brush teeth, make bed, shower, and you like tick, tick, tick. Yeah.
No, I literally crack up at people that write that on their to-do list.
Drive to gym. It's like, you're going to walk or crawl? Like
literally. And I'm like, oh my God, if I didn't tick it off, did that mean I like didn't do it? Like,
I know.
I know. I'm so bad with like making to-do lists though. Like,
no, same. That's also been the biggest thing that has also caused me stress again. So I had mental burnout at the end of last year. And then I kind of got back on top of it in Jan, and a to-do list every single morning and journaling were the two things that helped me get on top of it. I've now stopped those, and then the stress came back. So I'm like, they need to come back into play again, ASAP.
Yes, absolutely. And it's got to be like a short to-do list. Like too long and you just get overwhelmed. I feel like it's just got to be like 4 or 5 things. Just like keep it tangible.
Yeah. Well, because I get to the end of the day, I'm like, I haven't done anything. Like I've literally failed today, but it's because I haven't actually seen what I've done on that piece of paper. And then let's say something's not like a priority. At least I know that it's on tomorrow's to-do list. So I'm not stressing thinking I have to do it today. And if I don't do it today, I failed. So that's really helped me too.
Do you struggle with like negative self-talk around like being busy? Do you feel guilt around like taking rest days and stuff?
I love rest days.
Yeah,
They're my favorite thing ever. I would say like in the weirdest way possible, I'm the most disciplined, lazy person ever. I love a sleep in. I love like a lazy day. But as long as like all the boxes are ticked, then I like will do that. I will never feel guilty for taking a week off the gym or a rest day because I know how important that is. And I think that's just come with education. I probably struggle the most with anxiety and stress over like negative self-talk. I know that can come into play, but I'm always constantly, I'm never in the present, I'm always in the future. And that's what I struggle the most with. I find negative self-talk is very much like a past thing, like, oh, you didn't train hard enough, you didn't go for your morning walk. I'm like so fine with that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I still have 5 things to do on my to-do list. Even if they're really easy, simple things to tick off, it stresses me. So I would say I very much live in the future and that's what I struggle with.
Yeah. What's the negative core belief that like stems that negative self-talk? Do you think it's like that you think you're lazy or
that I'm never doing enough?
Yeah.
I think just being surrounded by very successful people now, like all my friends have their own businesses, everyone here pretty much at Zone has their own businesses, so you're constantly like trying to level up, which is amazing, but if you get caught in that rat race, it just like it puts so much stress and pressure on you. So that's the number one thing I'm trying to focus on this year is really just focusing on myself and what I can do and not worry about what everyone else is doing around me.
Yeah. It's so interesting that like such high achievers think that. It's probably the thing I struggle with the most as well, thinking like I should be doing more and I'm never doing enough. Same. And I actually went and saw a psychologist for so long kind of about all this. And one of the things that she told me to do was write down like things that you did well at the end of the day. And so like little things where I was like, oh, like I would get to the end of the day and be like, I didn't do anything. I'm not progressing. This is why I suck. This is why my Instagram's not growing, blah, blah, blah. And then we sort of like flipped it and was like, okay, write down some things that like you actually achieved. And just like that little bringing it to mind started to like really help.
I started doing that last year, but I would do it at the end of each month because I would kind of forget what I achieved. And then I looked back. I only did it for the first 5 months, as you tend to do. But I looked, I'm like, oh my gosh, I achieved so much. And there were so many little things that I forgot about along the way. But I'm like, oh, I actually am progressing. But there's a quote going around. It's like you don't actually realize how much you're progressing because you're constantly raising that bar. So your standards just become like, or like that thing you achieved just becomes your new normal.
Yeah.
So for example, like last month I did the best month like business-wise I've ever done.
Yeah.
But now I'm stressed because I'm like, I have to match that again. Instead of actually being proud of myself, it's like, okay, well, what can I do next to achieve the next thing? It's just a never-ending cycle, really.
What would old you be? What would old you not believe about what you've got right now?
Literally everything.
Yeah.
Literally everything. I was in like a very interesting like mindset a few years ago. I was with my ex-partner living in Adelaide and Perth, and our relationship, like I was with him for like 7 years, but I felt very trapped for that amount of time. And it was a very toxic relationship as well. And there was so many times like I wanted to get out, but I had zero self-confidence. So now looking at my future self, I never ever thought I was going to get out of that, move states, start my own business, do bodybuilding. There's a million thousand things, like even just like working with the brands I work with now and actually having an impact. It's just insane. And also insane that like 5 years ago, I was not even close to, I wasn't doing anything I'm doing now. So I'm like, imagine another 5 years, and it makes me so excited for the future.
Yeah.
You guys know we love Muscle Republic. Whether we're training in the gym or going for a hot girl walk, it's all about moving with purpose. It's giving look good, feel good.
They've got something for everyone, and especially their men's and women's collections are just amazing. Our boyfriends wear all the men's, and we tend to steal their oversized tees and hoodies all the time. And two of our favourite collections are Luxe and Air by far.
Right now, you can save 20% on your next order with code RAWREality20. Just head to musclerepublic.com and use code at checkout. You guys know how busy Tori and I have been lately, and Papa Macros have been a time saver. They are a meal prep company that delivers ready-to-go meals straight to your door.
One thing that we love most is their clean ingredients, not using any seed oils or preservatives, which can be common amongst ready-to-go meals. The macros are incredible, and they have over 70 meals on the menu with different categories to fit your current goals.
Lucky for you, we have partnered with Papa Macros, so if you're struggling with meal prep, poor on time, or just wanting to switch it up, they are the perfect addition to your weekly plan. Just use code RAWREALITY for a discount on your next order. And you'll never get tired of eating the same meals as they update their menu every month, so the variety is never ending. We hope you enjoy.
So let's talk about that. Were you in a relationship for your first prep?
Yes.
Yes. So what was the dynamics like when you were prepping?
So at this point, we lived in Adelaide. And then when we came back to Melbourne, we both lived back at our parents' house because of COVID. I think that very much helps kind of having that separation. But he hated bodybuilding. He actually left my second show early because he couldn't watch it. Yeah. But I apologized because I was like, no, I completely understand. It's very uncomfortable. You go, I'll see you home later.
No.
So that's the mindset I was in at that time. So I never shared much from my very first prep because I was like, didn't want to show off my body too much. I would never share check-in photos because I was portraying too much skin on my stories and online. So that was very much my first prep, but I didn't really, the mindset I was in, I thought that was like normal and it didn't bother me at that time until coming out of it. I'm like, whoa, that was not okay.
Yeah. What would you go back and tell that prep Lily? What would you tell her right now?
To literally, that is psychotic that you actually stayed and let that be okay, or not having a voice and opinion. I think now because in my second prep, I was dead single. And then this prep, I'm in a relationship with my dream partner. So knowing the different levels of like support from being in a toxic relationship to then being by yourself to then being with a dream partner, every prep has been so different because of that. And now just having like the support, there's truly nothing like it.
Yeah. How do you think your relationship dynamics will change as you get deeper into prep now?
I think the best thing is Kate understands from like previously competing. I'm very, very self-aware when it comes to prep and knowing like my moods. I think I just have to be a little bit more like communicating and be like, I'm not feeling good today. I'm not angry at you. Just like I need some quiet. He's very like loud, likes loud music. He loves to move. He loves to like hustle, very like go 24/7. And I now need to reserve a lot of my energy and I kind of become a lot more internal. So I think the biggest thing is like the deeper parts of prep is communicating, but also making sure you have like actually strict date nights, that you do something together. Because right now I know that probably like the past 2 weeks, it's been a lot more like business and prep and moving house. I'm like, okay, we need to actually properly book something in for us to do together. That's like, we don't speak about business. We just spend time together. So I would say that's the biggest thing I'm focusing on heading into the second half of this prep is to just like make sure communications are like number one priority.
Yeah, that's mine and Callum's 100%. Like it's the rule. You must communicate how you're feeling. Just like everything you're feeling, get it out there because the other person, whether or not they're in prep or not, like obviously Cade's not in prep. Yeah. He understands, but he still doesn't know exactly what you're feeling right in that very moment. Yeah. And so even just being able to be like, look, I need some time. Yeah. Let's just like have some space. Let's just chill. It's so much better.
My problem is I'm very irritable, like very snappy. And then after I snap, I'm like, sorry about that one. I need the other person to joke about it. That's actually sometimes that's the worst thing you can do. It's the best thing for me because it brings like a lighthearted mood to it. The other day I got home and it was like 8 p.m. I was cooking dinner, which is like late from the whole day. And I opened the fridge and I thought we had chicken and broccolini. We had nothing. And I had to go get it. And I just started crying because I was just like, oh, like not today. Anyways, he gets home. He's like, I'll just go get it after my shower. I'm like, no, I want to get it now. I just walked out. I come home and he's like, did you cry? And I was like, yes. And he's like, I know. I'm like, how did you know? He's like, it's obvious. I'm just going to go shower. I'm going to keep you down here. And when you're ready, I'll come down for dinner. And I was like, thank you. Like just like little things like that help so much. But I'm like, I just did not need to be like attacked right then. I would have sent me.
Yeah. A good relationship is when you know when to like go forward or go back. Yeah. Like it's really hard, but once you get to that point where you're like, I know that they need space or I can joke about it. The worst thing, and I'm sure you probably experienced this in your last relationship, is people picking at that moment. Yeah. Like if Kate had been like, why are you like crying about this? Yes. Or like, seriously, it's not that big of a deal.
Or you're being dramatic. Yeah. That is the worst thing you can say to someone. And it's definitely what happened in my previous one too.
Do you find it easy with Kay to understand when he needs support and when he needs time?
No, I haven't figured that out yet. I'm a very open book. I find people will know my moods, my personality very, very fast because like I will speak before I think, whereas I have no idea what he's thinking. And like he could just be so zoned in or something and I literally think he hates me and he's like, I'm just working. Like it's okay, like relax. I think that's the overthinker in me, but I haven't quite figured that one out yet.
I haven't figured out Cal yet
That's
either.
what I was,
so it's
yeah,
all good.
perfect. I feel like it's a male thing too.
Literally, my favorite thing to say to Cal is like, "What are you thinking right now? Like, what's
a
on
good
your
one.
mind?" And he's like, "Nothing." And I'm like, "No, like nothing. What are you thinking about?" He's like, "Oh, nothing." I'm like, how do you think about nothing?
It's literally like there's a reel going around and it's when a girl asks their partner how their day was and they're like, good. I'm like, and I'll be like, well, I woke up at 6 a.m. I didn't really want to get out of bed, but then we saw the sunrise and it will like go through. But I honestly think that's just the difference between females and males.
No, literally, that is the same. Or like when Cal will say like, "Oh, this guy and this guy there, they split up," and I'm like, "What happened? How? Who did it? Was there cheating?
Why?
Blah blah blah." And he's like, "I don't know."
Yes.
You didn't ask for details?
Or they just like don't care about it. You're like, just speak to me about this. Like I need to speak to you. Like
Literally.
yeah, it's so funny.
The boys are the best to tell the gossip to because you know it just goes in one ear and out the other.
100%. Yep. And then you tell them again the next day and they're like, huh? When did you tell me that? You're like, yesterday? You're like, oh, okay.
No, literally,
Yeah.
boys are just really strange.
They
They're
are.
really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think that your relationship with Cade has gotten stronger now that you're in prep, that you're able to communicate?
Yes, I would say also just like spending more time together. I've now like realized how he operates and he's realized how I operate because I used to base our relationship so much off my past because that's all I knew. But now knowing that like Kate is like the polar opposite, I'm like, okay, this is how he likes things done or this is how he doesn't like things done. This is how he likes to be communicated. So like the first like probably 3 months into our relationship was the hardest because we had like maybe our first argument and I didn't know how he would react. I didn't know how he would respond. And now I know what he needs through certain times. Whereas like I was like, oh my God, like what's wrong? Like, can I help? I try to fix things. And that was like the worst thing I could have done. He just needs space. He just needs communication. I didn't realize how much he needed communication because my ex like did not ever speak. So now knowing that like all I have to do is express how I'm feeling literally right then and there, it fixes everything. And since then, it's been so easy because I know now learning like how we both respond to things and how we both react, and then it kind of falls into place.
How did your mindset shift from coming out of the other one to going into this one? Did you have to let go of all the limiting beliefs before you met Cade, or was it something that kind of grew?
I think I had to have someone show me because there were so many things I was like holding on to as I was heading in, and the only way for it to almost like be dissolved was him to like prove that it wasn't going to be the same. And he's like proved that through and through. There was like one time where Cade went out for like, I think it was like the very start of our relationship. He went out clubbing and then to the pav, not really clubbing. And then the next day, like I just like picked him up that night and it was so chill. And I was like, oh, like my partner can go out and it can be okay. And literally from then I was like, oh, and then we went to the snow last year and this is like when we had our first kiss and my phone wasn't working. I had to work and my phone wasn't working for hotspot. And he's like, oh, just have my phone. I need to go out in the mountain to go for another run. And I was like, you want me to have your phone? And he was like, I don't care. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's like, I think just like over time, things just get dissolved because of the actions that they do and they prove to you that it's like everything is going to be okay. I also started seeing a kinesiologist, which helped a lot.
Yeah.
Do you
Tell
know
me
what that
about
is?
that.
So it's
No.
like I used to see a psychologist and I felt like they didn't understand me. I also probably just didn't connect with the right one. This one is also my hairdresser. And
They know everything.
they know everything. Yeah. And it's very much like I'm not really into like the woohoo type situations. Like all of that, I'm not really here for it. But the kinesiology is very much based on energetic. So it's really hard to explain, but your muscles in your body respond to certain things when certain questions are asked. So she would like, I would just like lay down on the bench for like literally an hour and she would ask me questions and how my body would either like seize up or relax, and it would kind of knew the answer before I even knew the answer. So then basically we just like kept going through things like on a deeper and deeper level. very much are like a psychologist in a way of like asking questions, but intertwine the body, which I found so interesting.
Yes. 100%. Your body keeps score and your body tells you before your mind tells you.
Yeah.
Like, I think I was speaking about this on my last podcast episode. Like, when you feel anxious, what's the first thing you notice? It's in your gut.
Yep.
You feel anxious belly before you even like realize you're anxious.
And your muscles like tense.
Yes, 100%. That's
Yeah.
so interesting. And so what kind of changed through all of that?
I probably worked on my people pleasing the most, like through her, because that's obviously like stemmed from like a lot of past history, just like trying to make the other person or everyone else happy rather than myself. But now like putting myself first in a relationship has helped literally so much. So that's probably the biggest thing that we worked through. And she was just kind of like, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel that way? And it's very confronting, but you get to the bottom of the answer and she's almost like, you've just made all of this up. Like, it's not actually true. You're just believing that it's true because of like past data and past history. You now get to rewrite the story and have it actually how you want to have it. And that's been the biggest like game changer for me.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
I really like that idea.
It's really good.
I think a psychologist is great when you can connect with them, and as long as you're able to like, I don't know, get what's inside of you out. And that's the biggest problem. Like a lot of the time we don't even realize what's actually inside us.
You just literally, it could be to a wall. You just have to tell something how you're feeling and immediately feel lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were with your past partner, how did it all end? Did you break up with him?
I went to Europe and had the best like month of my life. And I really realized what it was like to be happy. And like, that's truly what it was. We were being rocky for like years on end. And then there was things that happened and he cheated without admitting it. And there's the whole thing. But basically I came back and within a week and a half, I was like, I need to go back to Melbourne. We need space. And like we both kind of knew I was never going back because I took 2 full suitcases back home with me. And then something blew up and we just like literally ended it there and I never spoke to him since.
That's so amazing.
But Europe, like if you are like unsure about something, go travel. Literally go travel.
100%.
Yeah.
I did that twice.
Yeah.
I went to Europe, did 3 months, came home, got like a shitty boyfriend, left the shitty boyfriend, went to Europe for 6 months.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
wow.
literally. I like lived in Europe. Well, I've got my English passport because I was born in England. And I went and I lived and I worked in Europe for 6 months. And then I
what the
came
heck?
home and met Cal. And it was the whole
See?
thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah. My little sister's just going to Europe in like a month and she's just left the boyfriend and everything.
I'm so excited
Like,
for her.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Have fun.
I think the real reason is like you're over there and you realize how insignificant everything is. And also how like life is kind of short and you need to live in all the moments. And if you're not feeling this free and happy all the time, like what are you doing?
Literally.
It's the best thing ever.
Learning that your bubble is not all there is to life is the best thing you can do for yourself. Like there is so much more out there, so many more people, so many more experiences. And like if you're ever feeling sad, knowing that you've got so much more fun to go is like so good.
No, it's truly the best.
Europe is like
I highly recommend. I want to go again and it would just be like in a completely different mindset this time. And I'm so like, I reckon I'd fall off the face for like a good few weeks. Like I'd have to.
That's the best thing.
Yeah.
Just like living with no stress and no pressure. Were you posting on social media then? Yeah.
Oh, yes, I was.
Yeah.
But like definitely not as intensely. I think I had like 30K possibly, which is still obviously like a lot of followers, but it wasn't like I wasn't with a whole heap of brands and everything. I think as soon as I ended that trip within a space of a week, I signed with Gymshark for like a container. And then that's when things really started rolling on. But I wasn't really, I think I was with like Ridewear and I wasn't with a supplement company. Like it was very just chill.
So what flipped the switch for you from being like casual influencer to this is me, this is what I want to do?
Moving to Gold Coast. It was definitely like surrounding people. Like we all know that probably Gold Coast is the influencer capital. Like everyone does it here. But I think that's why it's so cool because no one judges you, no one cares and everyone just wants the best. So I think that's what really caught my attention coming here. also just became a lot more like easy and organic, and I was happy sharing all of my life, and a lot of my friends did socials, and then you just kind of like connect with all of those people, because when I was in like my other states, all of my friends would like work 9 to 5, whereas here everyone kind of had their own jobs and did their own things, and everyone had socials at some capacity. So that's what really just, I was like, yeah, I want to do this. And then I think Tori and I started like pushing it really hard at the same time, which always helps when your best friend does something, you can do it together.
Yeah. How much has Tori impacted your career?
Rather than my career, I would say my personality and like my mindset more than anything. Because like she was with me since like for years and years, before like when I lived interstate as well. So she's like seen the whole changes and like my different personality, and she's probably the one who really helped me like bring my true authentic self to life. And she's someone who will always go after what they want. And that really taught me to be like, the worst thing someone can say is no. So like you may as well just ask, or you may as well just try, because you're never actually going to fail. And that's what really just pushed me to like start my business, to start our podcast, to push socials more, and to basically like not care what anyone else thinks, because she's the epitome of that.
Just go after your goals.
Yeah.
Do you think that chasing your goals and doing it more and more and more has made you more confident in that anyway?
Definitely. Yeah. Because you prove to yourself that you can achieve something, and you are capable of actually like doing amazing things. So the second that you achieve a huge goal, you're like, oh shit, I actually can do that. And it wasn't as hard as I thought, which makes you then put the bar higher and want to push even more.
Yeah. Yeah. And having people in your life that are inspiring you and you're not envious, you're just literally inspired by the way they do things is so motivating as well.
It can be the hardest thing to find, like a good group of friends who are not in competition but in the same industry, and it's like it's a very awkward, hard thing to do. But I remember like a specific thing when Tori signed with Gymshark first, and then I was like, oh, like that's my dream band, damn, that's hers now, I can't have it. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like that's amazing. I was excited for her, and she's like, yeah, here's their email, reach out. And I was like, what? Why would you want me to do it too? I just feel like I never was in that space where like someone else wanted to help me achieve something. She was like, well, it'd be really cool if you had it too, like how amazing would that be? And I was like, oh, okay. And then that also makes me want to help her.
Yes.
So I think it's like a very back and forth thing with our whole friendship group, is we all want to help each other. And that's what's really brought our success.
And that just for everybody though, right? Like that's why you are so successful, and that's why so many people love you, because you don't just do that to your friends. You do that to everyone. You show everyone on social media that like, if I did this, you can too.
Yeah.
You inspire so many other people to just chase their dreams because you are.
Yeah.
And I guess because you're not looking down on anybody else, people are like, wow, like you can do it.
Yeah.
I can do it too.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, if someone's never stepped foot in the gym before, I'm never going to judge them. I'm going to help them to step foot in the gym and even to just stretch for the first time. Like that's amazing for that someone can even like get outside their comfort zone and do that, because I bet they're doing some things that I'm terrified to do or can't do.
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing accounting and I failed accounting at uni. I'm like, go queen, I can't do that.
Accounting,
No
that's
way.
rare breed.
I draw the line there.
How did the podcast even come about with you and Tori?
So we really wanted to like do something together. We felt like we were very like powerful together before, like, gosh, I think I hit 10K on socials and she just lost her Instagram completely. So then she had to restart again. So like very, very early on. And we're like, what should we do? And I was like, I knew she always wanted to start a podcast. And I was like, well, like, let's just try and see how it goes. I think it was 2022 we started it, which is like 3 years. Yeah, 3 years ago, literally this month. And yeah, we're like, let's just try it. And she was living in Gold Coast at the time and I was living in Melbourne. So we had to do it interstate for like months. Then I moved to Perth. So we continued to do it interstate and then finally moved to Queensland. It was so much easier. But I think the biggest thing has just been like our consistency. Like we've just shown up every single week. We have a break once a year and that's it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Have you and Tori had any challenges together through the podcast?
We've never like fought with the podcast at all, which has been like amazing and very much a blessing in disguise. Like we have been maybe very like bluntly communicating to each other. But I know how I know what she needs and she knows what I need. She's way more a control freak than I am. So I have to kind of just like let that go. I also couldn't care less. Like she can organize everything. I'm like, cool. But then I do a lot of like the business side to it. So like I'll do like all the uploading, the editing, and she'll do all the socials. So I think we are the polar opposite but work so well together. And that has been the best thing for our podcast. Because if we were both creative, I think it wouldn't end well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the podcast lights you up the most?
Being able to share the vulnerable side of me and actually just like realizing how much like of a human and a person I am, because I really struggle to get that across in my Instagram. But I know that like a whole hour episode, like week on week, like you know everything about me, and I can reach way more people than I've ever imagined and be way more impactful and just like educational and valuable. And it's the best thing ever. Like our podcast community is incredible.
Yeah, that's so
fun.
good. Have you guys got anything exciting planned for the podcast?
In like a few weeks, actually, we're just doing a dance class, which is so fun and so scary because I can't dance. But we like to do like little things like that. But there's one super, super exciting thing coming in, I think it's July or August, which is coming around so fast. And I'm so excited for that. I think we've been working on it since January.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, the dance class will be good for your posing.
It will be
That'll
to
be
loosen up a
great.
little bit. We're doing it to Tate
Yeah.
McRae. So I'm
Love
very excited for that.
That's so good.
I know.
The dance class actually is such a good idea because you really do just like let down your walls. When it's in something like posing or dancing, you just have to let go of all your ego. Be like, I'm so prepared to fail at this and look weird.
Yeah.
But like, that's the only way you get better.
100%. And also the only way you can learn how to be like uncomfortable. And that's what we really want this like dance class to be, because I like dancing in front of other people knowing that they'll be watching me. Whereas if you just attend a random dance class where no one knows you, couldn't care less. But I'm like, this is another situation where it's like your family's there or something. And I'm like, that's terrifying because I'll most likely be at the front of people copying me. But the best thing is I know other people there are also there to get outside of their comfort zone, to try something new. There's going to be incredible dancers, first timers, and that's what we want to encourage, is just to try something different and be okay at sucking at something.
Yeah. What's your mindset around like discomfort when it comes to things like that? And then also just like discomfort in prep?
I would say like I'm very strong-minded around discomfort, because you truly can't be successful, or you can't do multiple preps without being okay with being discomfort. Now there's a level where I'm very much, I'll only be discomfort in something I want to do, but a lot of that time it's like I will kind of want to be discomfort in everything. Like I'm not that person I hate airplanes, I hate skydiving. So there's no way I'm going to do that, because what's the point of doing that? I don't need to be uncomfortable doing that. But if it's like a prep and something I'm willing to do, like I'll do whatever it takes to be uncomfortable, to be the beginner, or for the hard days. Because majority of the time I know the harder something is, you tend to get the better results from it. Like the harder prep is, you're most likely going to wake up a lot leaner the next day. You're going to perform a better package. Let's say for this dance class, like the more uncomfortable that is, the more confidence I'm going to build later on to doing something I'm not good at.
Yeah. What do you remind yourself when you're going through those discomfort moments? Like, is there something you say to yourself that keeps you in check?
I think it depends on the situation. Let's say, for example, it's like I'm speaking in front of an audience. I did at your event. I did at like my coach's event. No one is anxious. Like no one's nervous watching you. So why are you nervous kind of performing it? That really, really helps me. Like if I see you standing up there talking, I'm not nervous for you. So it's like, you shouldn't really be nervous vice back. That's something that's really, really helped me. On the hard days in prep, I just like constantly tell myself that it's like, it's going to end. It's never like, you're never going to feel like this forever. Seek short-term discomfort for long-term gratification.
Yeah, yeah. And the more you do it, the more you prove to yourself that that's actually true.
Yes.
Like the more you push through a hard day and then you actually get through it and then the next day's really good, you're like, well, actually, wow,
Yes.
bad days don't last forever.
Yes.
Like, cool.
I felt like the past week and a half has been really, really hard in prep for not a particular reason. I kind of started psyching myself out thinking, why is it this hard so far out? And then yesterday and today I've woken up like a completely new human being. I'm like, okay, you're going to go through ebbs and flows in prep and you literally just have to ride the wave. And sometimes you just have to constantly remind yourself. It's like when a client comes to you and they know the answer to something, but you just have to tell them again. It's almost the exact same thing in like a prep. Like you kind of need those hard days and a good day to prove that like it's going to end and you can get through it.
Yeah. And you decide how you perceive the hard day anyway. Like if a hard day if you just start wallowing it and then getting mad and like psyching yourself out, you are just going to start getting more pent up and more freaked out.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just remind yourself like, okay, I'm just perceiving this as hard. Like it's going to end.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just like.
You're not going to die.
Yeah.
Like you're literally going to be okay. I also love watching other bodybuilders on YouTube because I find that it's also helps to relate as well, to be like, oh, I'm not the only one who's struggling. Like there's other people that are struggling because like I said earlier on in this episode, there's some, well, including myself, who sometimes just post the highlights on social media. So you can be like, oh my gosh, why am I the only one that's struggling? A lot of the time on YouTube or podcasts, people are a lot more vulnerable and will share a lot more things. So that's why I really enjoy watching YouTube on the days that I find a little bit harder because I'm like, she's also struggling. Like it's going to be okay. It's you chose to do this. Like it's normal.
Yeah. And I think that's why so many people do love you, because you are able to share the highlights, but you are able to share the lows and you're able to not make prepping such a negative thing. Like if we are only sharing the lows, then we're just whinging. Yeah. If we're only sharing the highs, then it's not really being truthful. But I think you've got the perfect blend of both of them. You're able to communicate how you feel. People are able to see you and go, fuck, if she can do it, I can do it too. You can, you really can decide.
Thanks.
It's fantastic, and it's really fun to watch your progression with your Instagram, progression with your bodybuilding, because you are open about it all.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I try to be open on in socials is off season and prep. I still try to train like in a crop and shorts and show my check-in photos in the deepest days of off season to prove that like you have to go through the both of them, because a lot of people just show their prep check-in photos and then they start posting every single day on prep and they never post in the off season. I'm like, people need that support in their off season too. Like not enough people actually show themselves throughout that period. So like that's something I'm very proud of myself for being vulnerable with, is showing like my whole off season too.
Yeah. And everybody's going to be different anyway. And, you know, every off season is going to be different. You might have a really good off season. You might have an off season where you're putting a lot less emphasis on bodybuilding, but sharing all that and sharing that the consistency is the number one thing. Like your consistency with bodybuilding doesn't matter if you're on or like semi on. If you just keep consistent, you're still going to make progress.
Yeah, literally. Like when I went to Europe, it was in between my first and my second season. I took a whole month off the gym, a whole month off tracking and not caring about like any macros. I wasn't even watching what was on my plate. And then I ended up doing so well that following season. I think it's really because I could lean in and I could lean out. But end of the day, I'm like so in tune with my body that you kind of still choose good things for you. You're still going for the walks. And then when you're on, you're training really, really hard. Yeah. And that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. It's just reminding yourself that like, it's not that big of a deal, you know?
Literally, it's not everything. I think you put, even in your post the other day, and I actually spoke about it on our podcast because it like sparked something, is like not letting bodybuilding be your identity, because when you step away from it, it literally becomes an identity crisis. And you see so many people go through that. So it's so important to still know who you are outside of that.
100%. And oh my God, we could do a whole nother hour episode on your identity around bodybuilding. It is a wild.
It's crazy.
And it's really, really, it's great to see that we are, I don't know, sharing a little bit more.
Yeah.
I would have died a year ago if I had said, I'm not the perfect pro bodybuilder that you all think I am. Like that identity I was so tied to. But I think seeing so many other people be open, I'm like, oh, cool. Like it's okay. It's okay.
And you can still do well when you are still being open. I think that's what we forget. Like to be a top bodybuilder, you have to be perfect. And it's like the top bodybuilders in the world aren't perfect. Like there's going to be things that are going to go wrong. They're going to get injuries. They're going to have an off-plan meal, whatever it's going to be. And like that is okay. Yeah. As I go through the sport, I'm realizing how much like the best athletes in the sport actually like aren't perfect every single day. Yeah. Like I think I was way more perfect a few years ago, like being so meticulous, but it caused me way more stress.
100%.
Whereas now I'm like, it's actually okay if you're 1 gram over or 1 gram under. Literally, it's going to be okay. Like realistically, the nutrition labels on the back like aren't 100% accurate anyways. So it's like just knowing that is also okay.
Yeah. And I think we are here to prove that. Like you can make so much progress and still enjoy your life. Suffering does not equal, like more suffering does not equal more more progress.
Yeah.
No way. The more happy you are, the healthier relationships are, the more you're going to sustain it, the longer you're going to have in this industry. And that's when you make the most progress.
Yeah.
It's doing it for the long haul and just like enjoying it. It's so important to enjoy.
Well, it's
what
like
you
just
do.
remember why you even chose the sport in the first place. It wasn't to suffer. It was to prove that you could do something hard and like achieve an amazing result.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't have to get caught in the suffering mentality around bodybuilding.
Yeah.
It's probably the worst thing you can do.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, I will most definitely have to get you back on for us to have a
so
big
fun.
bodybuilding deep dive. That would be
Yes.
so fun. This has been amazing. I'm so glad that I've got to know you a little bit more and get a little bit more insight into your mind.
I'm so glad that everyone got to hear a little bit more because I find like on my podcast, it's very much like a topic rather than like a specific deep dive into myself. So I can't wait to share this to everyone.
Yeah, thank you. You're really, really inspiring. And I'm so grateful that you're putting more out there and you're able to share all the ups and downs because you inspire me. You honestly inspired me to post more about my skin troubles and all the things that I've been going through. So,
thanks.
yeah, I'm really, really grateful. And I'm so glad. And I will absolutely have you on for a bodybuilding deep dive.
Yes,
soon.
I need to come on ours for one very similar as
Yes,
well, which I was
that would be
speaking to
so
Tori about.
fun.
Yeah, we'll do
Oh
like
my
a
gosh.
podcast swap.
Yeah, I love that. No, that's so
Amazing.
good. Thank you so much, Lil.
Of
This
course.
has been so fun.
Bye.
Yay. Bye.
Thanks to Muscle Republic for sponsoring today's episode. Remember, use Raw Reality 20 for 20% off your next order at musclerepublic.com.